do. We are actually very glad to be joined by a lot of great folks here that are going to be talking about healthy living and things of that nature. So this should be a fun conversation that we will be having right now. So definitely hope everybody out there is having a very good day and is definitely having a very relaxing day as well. So definitely hope everybody is enjoying the weather. We know that these are some very difficult times with all that's going on in the world, both with COVID as well as with the Black Lives Matter movement and things of that nature. So we know a lot of things are happening in our society, but that does not mean that we cannot be healthy. So that's what our concentration is going to be on today, is all about healthy living and things of that nature. So we are definitely very glad to be having that going on. I was approached some time back by my good friend Hadassah Patterson. Hadassah is a longtime friend, and she has been involved with me for a number of years, doing a lot of great things in our community. So Hadassah is, and we worked together on a book festival some time back. That festival was very much of a exciting thing that we did and had a great time with that festival. So that was a few years back, and then I've been following her cooking for a number of years. So that being said, we definitely have worked on a lot of great projects in the past, and we're continuing to work on some amazing things even now. So definitely have enjoyed talking to Hadassah about the cooking life and things of that nature. So that being said, it's been a very wonderful conversation that we've had. And so we are definitely continuing to have that conversation and have enjoyed knowing each other for a while. And I've learned that she is a fantastic cook. So she is going to talk a little bit about her background in terms of her cooking and things of that nature. So I'm about to let her talk about her background and tell us about how she got involved in cooking. So that's what we're going to do right now, is have her talk about that while I figure out what's going on with the captioning. So we're going to have her talk about how she got involved with cooking. So hopefully she will do that. And then, like I said, I'm going to come back and have her do a demonstration of one of her dishes. So, like I said, we're definitely going to have it going on.
So I was trying to get the
Oh, well, we're working on this right now.
so as far as how I got into cooking, I was originally in banking. I worked for a local small black-owned bank, and I did that for 14 years. Actually, I got into that just by accident. One of our family friends, was asking what I wanted to do when I graduated. And, I told her what I was doing, some data entry with the temp stuff. She was like, well, that's a lot like what we do at the bank. So I ended up in operations there for 14 years. And it wasn't until I really had a chance to sit and think about what I really enjoyed doing that, I recognized that I really loved cooking. And that's what I ended up spending time doing volunteering. Usually, with my spare time, I would go and volunteer with community efforts and builds and things. And we would serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so I just enjoyed myself so much, and it was really what I was meant to do. My grandmother was the private chef for one of Duke University's chancellors back in the 50s, 60s, Dr. And both of my parents worked in food service. My mom worked Dillard's Barbecue and a couple of other places around the Triangle. And my dad had his own store. We were just all very hospitality oriented folks. His father worked at one of the old Durham hotels. So it's really in my blood. I have no excuse whatsoever. It's in my blood. So this is what I really enjoy doing, and it just brings a lot of passion and purpose into my life. Um, I really I went to White Tech Culinary, and I did culinary hospitality management. And while I was doing that, I started writing about the local Durham Farmers Market, the downtown market. And so I really had a chance to, get familiar with all of the farmers and the seasonal produce. I couldn't have asked for a better introduction um, to the more modern seasonal produce that we see here in North Carolina. And so I had a chance to rub shoulders with a lot of the veteran chefs who are working with the market. And it was just really great exposure and experience. I still have, good relationships with a lot of the farmers, and the food is just so much better when it's fresh and local and seasonal, peak of ripeness. So like today with the peaches, we got peaches. I don't know if you can see peaches. I like this one. It still has the leaves on it, so the kids can tell it comes from a tree. But peach trees, if you had a peach tree in your yard, you behave yourself because those things may get switches.
Right.
But yeah, so I've got peaches and blackberries. They have a lot of flavor, you know. And they're from a local farm as well. I've got some salad mix here. There's we're from the South Durham Farmers Market. Some of the farmers there. It's got some frizzy and microgreens and things in there. Really nice. Um, so what I wanted to do today was talk about healthy living and how important it is. Especially now, it has taken on a much different connotation of living healthy now than we did before coronavirus hit us all.
Oh yeah.
Um, so it's really important that we have foods with high nutrition content, not just wasteful foods. I mean, we can eat anything to get full, but we want to concentrate on things that are nutrient dense or high vitamin content for the calories that we're going to be taking in. I take elderberry syrup every morning, every morning. There's certain things that we can do. Certain vitamin A is very good for the immune system. Anything that's yellow, hold this up, the pictures, you know, they have more beta carotene, vitamin A, vitamin C. I've also got some tomato here. Honestly, you don't have to have tomato and peaches, but I like tomatoes and peaches.
Oh
So
yes.
tomatoes and peaches. Um, and they all have, very high vitamin content. So those are things that um, the more you can pack in into a meal, the better off you are. Your 2 or 3 servings of fruits and vegetables per plate or what have you. We also look at, as chefs, we look at the number of ounces of protein that we're getting. It can be meat, it can be other types of protein. For a salad, it's just so easy. I like feeding things that people can use that are versatile. And you can always adapt and substitute for individual body needs because every single body is different. This body, every single body is different. Um, so you can do like I have some grilled chicken here. We've got some bacon. You can do some plant-based protein. Some people meat substitute. Um, for this type of thing, I always think for plant-based protein, like some light beans, like white beans or cannellini, um, northern beans, red beans, or even kidney beans. I think would probably go well. It's going to offset the sweetness of the fruit without clashing too much. So like I wouldn't necessarily put mushrooms in here. There are probably some mushrooms that could go with it, but I wouldn't suggest mushrooms with a fruit salad per se. So you want to look at some alternative sources of protein. So I'm going to go ahead and start building in. All right. I know y'all
Yes,
want to see the
that's
food, right?
it's doing great.
So I'm going to slice up the tomato. I don't know if you can see this. And we're going to dice this up a bit. Doesn't have to be diced. You can do what you like. Okay. And I kind of like to build mine, that certain way. I think every chef has putting their salads together, um, especially for like a composed salad. With the peaches, I really love grilling the peaches, and you can do this with outdoor grill, or you can use something like a George Foreman grill or toaster oven. Even put a little aluminum foil or something under there. And you get a really great flavor that way. So you get some nice color. They tell you to eat your colors with the salad or with a plate of food. You want to eat your colors. So this has a good amount of color. So I'm going to show you all this in a moment. And got the berries. I also like some herbs. I threw a few herbs. You get basil. Basil is good. Um, mint is really great with it. And I do like a citrus lime dressing to kind of top off. So I'm going to add the blackberries now. I don't know if you can see. Can't see. I'm trying to
Oh,
get
wow.
the right angle here. So you see, you got a good amount of color
That looks
on the
very
on the
delicious.
plate, and it's more appetizing. People don't recognize that. A lot of times they think, "Oh, I'm at home. It doesn't matter what it's like. Just throw it on there." But the more appetizing it is, the more likely you are to eat healthy food. You want to treat yourself nice. I mean, we're going through a pandemic right now, so this is a way of enacting your self care and taking good care of yourself. Um, Pampering yourself a little bit. These are kind of extraordinary times that we're going through. So make it look nice, and then you'll be um, more likely to finish that plate of healthy food. Because you made it look nice for yourself. And we've got a little bit extra time, some of us. Um, so I'm gonna dice the chicken and put some chicken on. Okay. And for the bacon oven, for the bacon. All right, now. So I've got the peaches, tomatoes, the salad, the frizzette, and other types of lettuce meat. We got a blackberry. Let me grab this.
Very good.
So I'm going to do a little bit of lime. I already mixed the dressing, but I'm going to add the lime flavor on. And then you get a really nice citrus tang to it, and it helps to offset the sweetness of the fruit.
I wish that I could taste this. It looks so good, and I love
I
like
was thinking the
citrus-based
same thing,
dressing.
Melinda. I was like, I'm just so hungry, and it just looks so delicious. So I was like, I need to be eating that
Okay.
as well.
Right. And I love peaches too, especially fresh peaches. Yeah.
Mhm. And I really love putting together, different types of healthy ideas. It's one of my favorite things, experimenting in the kitchen and coming up with different flavor combinations. But it's really all about balance. A lot of times people think it's all about the flavors that you're putting in there, and the flavors are important, but it's the harmony of flavors, layering the flavor, how we layer the flavors, that makes such a big difference. And if we layer it well and there are things that we really have an affinity for, things we really like, then you're much more likely to continue that pattern. We get into eating, almost a rut, but we get into eating habits. We call them eating habits. So once you start, you're like, oh, okay, I really like that together. And so then you add something else, and then you'll try something a little bit different the next day, or you'll make it into a wrap, or whatever. And you kind of start building on that habit that you started. So you want to make, with healthy food, you want to make it as appetizing as possible for yourself because it's for you. We have to take good care of ourselves right now. So much going on. So, I don't know if you can see this.
Oh wow!
Can you see
Oh,
the
yeah,
can?
we want to
So
taste
we've
that.
got the tomatoes and the peaches and, the salad and the blueberries. I love peaches and blackberries together. Blueberries are good too, but for some reason the peaches and blackberries tend to really complement one another. So we've got a lot of blueberries right now in North Carolina. Blackberries are starting though. Um, and then we have the lime dressing, like citrus dressing, but you can use lime or you can use orange, you can use lemon, blood orange, all different types of citrus mixing together, whatever, orange juice, you know. But it's just really easy. And, you have a
Wow,
really
that's very
nice plate of different colors and things. And, I also like, let me add a little bit, I like crunchy.
good. Yes.
A little bit of the pepitas. I don't know if you can see them, but I like the pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds. And you get extra bit of crunch and some extra protein and nutrient. They're very nutrient dense as well. So you got a really great, combination of flavors, and it's so easy to adjust the way that you like.
I
But
think if
I've
salad,
been cooking.
if
I wish
salad was
I
like
wish I
that,
could figure
not
out. I miss
leather.
everyone. Um, But next time we all get together, next time we do a session, we'll have a yoga session and we'll do some stuff. We'll have you over, Mark.
It sounds good. I like
You'll get a
that.
chance to taste the salad.
Yeah.
But I just really enjoy cooking for different types of health needs because to me, that's why we're here. I feel like a real chef should be able to cook for any kind of situation. That's why we train the way that we do. Um, because what we're doing is we're nourishing the body. And everyone has different health issues that they have to be aware of. And that's what food is for. It's medicine, it's nourishment. So the more we treat food like um, the nourishment that it is, the better off we are. But especially now when, so much is at risk and people are having to be careful. So it's just really important, I think, to kind of take that extra step and just really take as good a care of yourself as we possibly can. And a lot of the farmers have delivery still. Some still have delivery. Some have produce boxes that you can get picked up or you can pick up. So you can order ahead and just go to the market and pick them up. And, you give them your name or whatever and you just take it home and you open and wow, you've got all of these different things in here. Um, the last one that I did was corn and um oh I forgot I have corn there. Sorry. But the corn is white corn, like silver queen corn. I don't know if you can see. But there was corn and blueberries and strawberries and the peaches. It was like a box full of summer that was in there. So it was just really great. It was really great.
Sounds very good. That's absolutely delicious. And now you made me hungry. It's all your fault, Hadassah. You made me very hungry. And now I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to find me a nice salad from because Hadassah has got me very hungry and all of that. For those
Thank
that are listening,
thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
oh, no problem at all. And would you tell folks the name of your company and how they can reach the company? So if you'll give them the name of the company. Yeah, I don't know if she saw that. Melinda, if you would
Yes.
tell us a bit about your yoga business and what you got going on. You're in Greensboro, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes, I am in Greensboro, North Carolina. Originally from Tennessee, but I've been here since '05. So I guess I'm officially a North Carolinian. Um, I run Soulflower Wellness and I teach yoga and meditation. And I do like intention setting workshops for people. And I help people set custom affirmations um, to just increase their lifestyle, their standards of living.
It's interesting that you mentioned that. I was having a conversation yesterday with a young lady who's into manifestation. She was talking about how, with
Mhm.
all that's going on in the world, we don't spend enough time manifesting the greatness in our lives. So I was wondering if you could speak to that as well, because a lot of times we have things that we want in our lives. I'm in my late 50s, but I have friends of all ages, and sometimes they want things in their life, but they don't take the time to try to manifest those. And I know that that's an important aspect of meditation. So could you just share a little bit about what manifestation means to you? Because they were like telling me that no matter what your age is, sometimes you just have to like try to claim from the universe what you want from the universe. So that's the way that they defined it to me. But I was wondering how you would define it.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if I have like a set definition for it, but what I do, like my personal practice, is to decide what it is that I need more of. So let's say if I'm having um, a particularly busy week and I need more time to complete work or just to be with my friends or to spend time with myself, whatever, I have to think about what am I willing to give up in order to make space for the thing that I want to come in. So, an example for me, honestly, would be like I can give up an extra hour of Netflix to put in more time taking care of myself or more time with my friends or my family. But my understanding is that the universe kind of like it hates a void, right? So if you want more of something, you have to let something go. If you are looking for maybe more abundance in your life, one, you need to decide what abundance is. Because some people think that it's just financial, but it really could be more like an abundance of love or an abundance of care from other people, or it could be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be financial, but then you also have to decide like, well, I have to let go of um, time eating junk food, maybe, right? And eat, if you want more time, maybe, or you want more healthiness in your life, maybe you take the time to make the salad that we just saw, as
Mhm.
opposed to um, eating your chips and your cookies. Again, I'm really naming things that have to do with me. But one of the ways you can do that is to set an affirmation. So your affirmation could be something like, if you are trying to encourage yourself to eat healthier, right? Because that's where we are right now. Your affirmation could be something like, I honor myself with healthy food practices, right? So that is the thing that you get up and you say in the morning. That is the thing that you say, like maybe you made yourself a screensaver and it's on your phone, and that's something that you see on a regular basis. Well, in order for you to actually do that thing, right? In order for you to actually make that time for yourself, you take that affirmation, you say it on a regular basis, and then you take steps that get you to do that thing, right? And then by the end of your day or by the end of your week, you've actually taken the time to fulfill that affirmation, and you've manifested a healthier way of living in your life just by constantly reminding yourself that this is a way that you honor yourself. So yeah.
And how important do you think that is during this day and time? I mean, we have so much going on in the world. So how important do you think it is for us to have these kind of things going on right now?
I think it is absolutely necessary to do that. I feel like there are so many external voices, telling us you need this, you need that, you don't have enough whatever in your life. And really everyone um kind of had like, what your body needs more of. Every single person knows what their body needs more of, and it's really a commitment to listening to your body and bringing those things forth in your life and in yourself. And I think that right now, with all the things that are going on, some for good, some for bad, you have to make space to listen. Like if you don't take the time out to listen, you don't know that you need more leafy greens in your diet. You don't, you know what I mean? Like I found out that I'm anemic because I was listening during this time, right? So you don't know that you need more leafy greens in your diet if you're not listening, if you are constantly plugged in to social media. then you're not listening to what's internal. And the body has a lot of wisdom. You just have to tap into it. Um, and I think that things like meditation and things like yoga give you the space and the opportunity to listen. They require you to quiet down the noise of everything that's going on over there and over there and over there, and give you an opportunity to tune into who you really are on the inside.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that for sure. That a lot of times you're trying to concentrate on what's very important to you, and then you worry about some of the other things. 'Cause I know even myself, I know that I need to at some point lose some weight. I've put on a little bit more of that midlife kind of weight and things of that nature. So I know I need to start some sort of exercise program. And folks have told me that yoga is a wonderful way to do it. I've actually done a couple of yoga small demonstrations with folks. Like there's a dance group that meets on Saturdays, the Daybreaker group, and they'll usually have a mindfulness exercise, and yoga is part of it. Now they do those very complicated steps, Belinda, and I'm not gonna lie, those steps sometimes are a little bit too complicated for me. So I'm sitting there going like, I need something a little bit more basic. So as a beginning yoga person, how would you start off on yoga? Because they're talking about, like those steps to have you bend over like a chair and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there going like, don't know if I can handle that at 57, 58. So what kind of steps would you do for a beginning yoga person that might be a little bit easier?
Okay, well, I'll definitely show you a flow that I think that a lot of people can do, standing or seated. And I also just want to encourage the listeners to remember yoga will meet you where you are. Okay. So wherever, if you're like, I don't have a very deep bend in my knee, or if I can't touch my toes, yoga does not require you to touch your toes. It asks you to reach in that direction. No one's going to show up and give you a gold star if you touch your toes, and no one's going to be upset with you if you can't. I promise. When I teach my classes, I remind people I did not bring y'all awards for doing the things. The reward is the effort. So if you put in the effort, you will see how eventually maybe you do touch your toes, maybe you don't. It's not like, oh, you're bad at yoga. Nobody's bad at yoga. Nobody's good at yoga. You just practice it. It's literally just a practice. So
I
I'm going
want
to
to see some of
show
the
you.
demonstrations that you're going to give and everything. But before we get to that, I was just wondering, how did you first get into yoga? It's like, what made you? We heard Chef Hadassah talk about how she got into cooking, but what got you into yoga? Was it something that you were doing as a kid, or and did it blossom? You became a young woman. When did you first discover the wonders of yoga?
Um, as a kid, no, I was doing aerobics with my mom. She's a PE teacher. And she's still very active. She's 66 and she's still doing all the things. And now she's doing yoga with me. But I actually am a professional dancer, and I was doing yoga in a university, and I hated it. I was like, I'm never doing this again. This is awful. Um, I can't stand on my head. Like I literally, like, those were the things that I thought. And then I took a class at a workshop in Utah that I had gone to and loved it. And I was like, oh, it's the teacher. It's not me. And so I tried it again when I was teaching at Lincoln Middle School here in Greensboro, just as a combat for stress. Seventh graders can be stressful. And so I started doing yoga to be, so I could be my best self for the kids. And it just stuck. And so I got my certification 3 years ago this summer. 3 years ago in the summer. And I've just really stuck with it. And I've seen so many benefits. And I definitely would love to share with everyone the benefits of having a regular yoga practice as well. I think that people, they see that, oh, yeah, I might be able to lose some weight during yoga, which is great. But also it can help you sleep. It can lower your blood pressure. It can increase your flexibility. It can help you improve your sense of balance, which is, great. If you're balanced and you're not falling over, you're not breaking bones, you're not pulling muscles, right? So you want to have an increased sense of balance. It can improve your self-esteem. The idea that now I can stand on my head if I wanted to, that's been a big self-esteem boost, right? Or knowing that maybe at the beginning of me practicing yoga, I couldn't do yoga push-ups, and now I can. So it has improved my self-esteem. my posture. It can help you get stronger bones. So there are so many benefits in addition to the possibility of losing weight that I think can be really good for people. It can improve your brain function. Who doesn't want improved brain function, right?
Yeah.
Especially right now when we're spending so much time being bombarded by the news and by, what movie is coming out now and like all these different things, which aren't necessarily bad things, but there is just a lot. It's just a lot of information all the time. So if you can do something that's natural and you can do it in your pajamas, um, why, and you can do it in 10 minutes. I'm not telling everybody to have an hour-long yoga practice. I like an hour-long yoga practice because I like yoga. And I like to work out and get sweaty and all that stuff. But if you want to take 10 minutes and figure out how you can not have lower back pain, then yoga is an excellent, nice, easy on the joints way to work that out.
Now, how
So I'm
important
gonna
do you think
say,
the dance is? I want to these yoga demonstrations. How important do you think the dancing background is what to your yoga? Because like I said, I know that the Daybreaker people, which is a national thing, and now they're doing these online kind of activities every Saturday. They will sometimes start with a mindfulness exercise like yoga or something like that, and then they'll get into the dance moves and the people having their dance moves at their house and everything. I'm a very bad dancer, so whenever they flash the camera on me, it's very funny because it's like that's the thing to see, but I at least attempted, and try to have fun while doing that. But it's not a good sight for many folks. But at least that's my opinion about it. But just as a former dancer that got into yoga, what do you see as the connections between them and everything? Because I know some other people that are into drumming, some that are into dancing here in this area. Because of course we're here in Durham, and that's the home of the African American Dance Ensemble. So I know some of those people are also into yoga. So and other mindfulness practices. So what do you think is the importance of just not just daily life, but to dancers and to others, yoga and mindfulness kind of practices, whether that's meditation, whether that's just daily prayer or whatever that mindfulness practice is.
well, I definitely think with dance, once you start to perform on a regular basis, you might do a step on the right side of your body and never do it on the left. But yoga gives you the opportunity to stretch the right side, the right leg for the same amount of breaths that you're going to stretch the left leg. So it does, give you an opportunity for balance, with just like how much time you're spending on each muscle and that kind of thing. But as far as the mindfulness component, if you're doing a physical yoga practice, because there's like 8 limbs to yoga, right? But if you're doing the physical practice, which is the poses that you see, if you're doing them correctly, you're breathing. Not necessarily like everybody's shape is going to look the same because everybody's bodies are different. And your body will differ from right side to left side. So you shouldn't look for total symmetry all the time, right? But some people's legs are longer than the other and their arm is longer, etc. You have a more open hip flexor on the right or whatever. But if you're breathing while you're doing the postures, and if you're thinking deeply about your breath, that is your opportunity to be mindful. Which, if I'm dancing and I want to get the steps correctly, I can't be thinking about what I'm doing later. I have to be thinking about that step right now. And it's kind of the same with yoga. Like if I'm really, really focused on this breath, and then when I exhale, and then when I inhale, and then when I'm exhaling, I can't think about what's going to happen next. I'm focused solely on the breath. And that opportunity to be that focused is when you get to be mindful, when you get to really focus, or when I get to really focus on Melinda, when you really get to focus on Mark and not what Mark has to do in 30 minutes, right? And I think that that kind of gives you a break. Like it gives you an opportunity to just live right there in that moment, as opposed to being super, super focused on, okay, I got a Zoom meeting at 2 o'clock. I have, to figure out where I'm going to be at 4:30. I have to figure out what I'm going to eat at 5. Da, 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 da. No, just breathe at 1:15 and then take the next breath and then take the next breath. And that gives you an opportunity to just be with you. And if that's your spiritual practice as well, that gives you an opportunity to be open for you to hear from your inner self and your higher power as well.
Oh yeah,
It's
definitely.
really a
Well, I wish you'll
beautiful
give us a
thing.
little bit of demonstration. I can't wait to see it. Just like I saw the demonstration of Hadassah, I definitely look forward to seeing yours as well.
Well, I did want to say, Hadassah and Mark and listeners, I'm going to type in the live comments. Hadassah was mentioning some of the local foods and things at fresh markets. There is a Black-owned farm fresh produce box in Raleigh, North Carolina, called Tall Grass Food Box that has some beautiful produce that I've been seeing online. And I wanted to make sure that everybody had the opportunity to order from them if you're in the area. So I'm going to go ahead and post that. Um, I
Yes,
live in
please
Greensboro, so
do.
I haven't seen it yet,
Yes,
but I've
please
been
do, because I know I
putting all
use a
my
company that does something similar, but they're not Black owned. So if I can support some of our own, that's always a great thing.
exactly. I've been seeing like listen, they and I think they give you a recipe too, but they had put some greens online the other day, and those they look so fresh and so delicious. I was just like, okay, Hasaya done told us we need to be getting fresh produce from here and there. Let me go ahead and put Tall Grass Food Box in the chat so everyone can notice them. I am going to show you all how to do quarter sun salutes. So like if you see someone talking about sun salutations, they're doing the full round, but I'm going to teach you just the quarter sun because it's a little less vigorous, but you can definitely raise your body heat and focus on your breath. So I'm going to step back to my mat and we'll go from there.
All right, sounds good.
So here's my yoga mats. That's my dog right beside me. And for your quarter sun salute, you want all 10 of your toes to face 12 o'clock. So no one's toes are turned out like this, but all 10 of your toes are in the same direction. Your knees are soft. You don't have to lock your knees at all in yoga. You'll reach up towards the ceiling with a big inhale. On your exhale, bring your arms down, bring them to your heart center. Your next inhale, reach up, and exhale, arms down. That's the quarter sun salute. And you can do that seated. So if you are in a meeting and you need to turn your camera off and take some deep breaths, you can technically reach up, bring your arms back down, bring your hands to your heart. Do that again. Big inhale, reach up, bring your hands to your heart. And that is you taking in as much air as you can. And on your exhale, breathe out through your nose. So your inhales and exhales are mouth pressed. If you wanted to do a half sun salute to include your lower back and maybe stretch your hamstrings a little bit, on your exhale, you're going to reach towards your toes. So let's check that out. So again, big inhale, reach up. On your exhale, you'll fold over. If you're seated, you can still just reach down toward your toes and then lift up halfway. You want to make your back as flat as possible. Even if that means coming to right here, that's fine. Then fold over and reach up. And then you would just repeat that. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Those are things you can do as soon as you get out of bed in the morning, just to wake your back up, just to wake your hamstrings up, just to fill your lungs up with air and feel and exhale. I love just the simple, it's so simple, just the reaching up. And like I said, you can do that in your chair if you wanted to. Just to, get your blood flowing again. If you've been sitting for a long time, sit up nice and tall, arms up, arms down, reach down towards your feet. Really
Yeah,
simple movement just to get you revved up a little bit.
yeah, that sounds great. That's what we need is more of that revving up kind of energy, particularly in these days and times and everything. So, how has your practice been impacted by what's going on? Because I mean, I'm imagining that for a while, I know gyms were not open. Were you able to have your space open during the earlier parts of the state's lockdown, or were you able to still see your students, or how were you able to cope with what was going on with COVID and everything?
Well, the students that I work with, the studio that I teach at, Dancing Dog Yoga in Greensboro, has been closed for a while. And we are a hot yoga studio, so we do all of these things under heated lamps. So it's been really different to practice at home because I don't have a heated lamp, right? But before I started working at that studio, I only practiced at home. I wasn't a member of a studio before I started to teach there. Um, so I was used to practicing at home. That hasn't been difficult. I just been, doing YouTube videos or practicing with my friends. But the studio, like I said, we've been closed and we've been teaching online. And I also teach private classes online. And I teach a donation-based class on Wednesdays at 3 that anybody can join. Um, but it's been different because I got used to practicing with my teacher friends and my students at the studio in the heat, and now I'm at home with my dog, and I'm interested on what it's going to feel like to get back in the heat. And also, I teach aerial yoga where we hang from the ceiling, and
Right.
I can't do that right now either. So I miss that very much. I miss the feeling of being in the studio surrounded by other people who want to
Now, is
sweat
aerial
really
yoga the same thing as aerialist? Because I know a couple people that do the whole aerialist thing, or is there a differentiation between an aerialist and aerial yoga?
There's some differentiation. With aerial yoga, I'm not so far off the ground that I can't put down like a foot or my hand most of the time. I'm just getting a really good stretch with the fabric, and that gaining upper body strength and moving from pose to pose, but not in the way that aerialists do it. Like they do some amazing things, and I'm not quite there yet.
Understood. And how important do you think it is with so many of us staying home and just like being at home, doing a lot of work from home, doing a lot of schooling from home, and things of that nature? I know a lot of people try to get out for walks. I know I try to do that, even though I didn't do one yesterday or the day before or the day before. Actually, I need to do that today. It just made me think about that. I need to get out there and get that walk on because I've been putting it off for a couple of days. So that being said, how important do you think it is to get exercise in general? And it sounds like yoga is something that you can do even on the days that you might be confined in, either because of what's going on with COVID or because of the rain that we also had last week. So it sounds like yoga is a good exercise in terms of the cardiovascular. I don't know how it is in terms of weight loss. I mean, part of that is what Hadassah does with better eating and things of that nature. But is yoga also a good weight loss kind of program?
It definitely can be, especially if you're doing really vigorous yoga. Like I practice power yoga at home, which means every breath I'm doing a new step. My inhales and my exhales, they each have a particular up or down or forward or back, which can get your heart rate up, right? If you're moving with breath. Or especially, like I said, if we're doing it under the heated lamps, you're going to get warm and you're going to burn some calories. If you were doing a slower based yoga, there's still the opportunity for weight loss because if you're moving your body weight, right? If you're using your body weight as your weight, like you would dumbbells or whatever, you have the opportunity to gain muscle and build muscle strength, which can give you the opportunity to burn calories. So it definitely can still lead to some weight loss.
Sorry about that. Light
All
does
right.
not stop. So I had to also have my AC guy come by and check out some stuff that's going on here at the apartment. So sorry about that. But
Got you,
you were
got you.
saying once again about the whole thing with the how yoga can work even with an exercise program.
Yeah, definitely. I think that like the studio that I go to, a lot of the people there do yoga in addition to playing tennis, in addition to running, in addition to um, being like I think there's one guy's like a marine or something. Like they're all of these things. It works in conjunction too because it requires you to move your muscle, you move your body and muscles in different ways. Um, but like I was saying, like it definitely can help with weight loss because you're using your body as a weight, like you're using your body weight, right? And building strength by holding postures. Sometimes that hold, like it's staying in a particular shape, it's just as difficult as moving a whole lot, because now you're forced to use your core muscles for stability. So you might start to see muscles that you haven't seen in a while, just because like now you're forcing them to be active, right? Um, and for people who are doing a lot of sitting in front of computers or in front of TVs, or just a lot of sitting in general, the posture, right? This rounded shoulder thing that even I'm doing right now can be correct and fixed, if you will, with yoga, like learning some of the postures. I can show you one right now. If you sit up tall, right? If you have the space to wrap your arms and lift your elbows, go for it. But if you don't, you can simply do a hug and start to pull your shoulder blades back in line with each other. And that can help restructure some of the posture that you're building by sitting like this and texting or playing video games or whatever all day. It's just that can help change it. And that's really what we want. We want to get our bones back into alignment as opposed to conforming to typing. So let me just sit like this, right? You wanna get your spine back in order.
Yeah, definitely have to get the spine back in order, no doubt about that. Because it seems to me that too many of us are so busy with like the day-to-day rut of life, the rat races, they will, using that expression and everything, that we get not enough exercise. And I was just wondering, do you even think that we get enough exercise in terms of the school system? Because I remember when I went to school, and that was back in the 70s in terms of grade school, and college in the early 80s, there was a push to have like exercise and exercise programs. And I know every once in a while we'll get a leader of the country that'll push for that again. But it seems like we don't have enough of that. I mean, even sometimes when I go out to some of the things around town and everything, I see people using the bikes. I see people using other forms of exercise, even walking the trails. But I'm wondering, do you think that we're getting enough correct exercise and a correct education about exercise? I just wondered what some of your thoughts were on that, Milan.
That question would be much better suited for my mom than for me, because like I said, she's a retired PE educator. But I don't feel like we get enough exercise in the school systems. I feel like, if it's not if you're, for example, when I was at the middle school, if it wasn't your rotation to have PE, if you had band, you might not go outside at all once you got to school, or you might not get a chance to run around at all once you got to school. And the kids would have so much homework that if they did their homework as soon as they got home, there's not going to be daylight for them to run around outside, and we don't necessarily teach at school. My mom did. I was lucky enough to have her as an educator as well, but we don't necessarily teach individual things that you can do at home for health. They spend a lot of time sometimes at school teaching team sports, which is not bad, because you need team sports to learn how to work with other people and to learn how to be, a good team player, so that you know how to be a good team player on a Zoom call, right? You need
Right.
sports for that, definitely. But you also need to learn how to do things by yourself to take care of yourself. So you need to learn how to jump rope by yourself. You need to learn how to do proper jumping jacks by yourself. Like, those things can come in handy when, if it's your opportunity to turn the camera off for a few minutes, and you wanted to drop and do 10 push-ups just to remind yourself that you can, like, you should learn how to do those things properly in school. As I'm not going to say that climbing a rope isn't the most efficient way to gain upper body strength. It definitely works, but I haven't had the opportunity to climb a rope in a very long time. But my mom says that you should always be able to lift your upper body weight out of a window or into a window. Like, if you need to, like if you need to get away from like a fire or something, you need to be able to lift your upper body weight. So work on your upper body strength, everybody, because Ann McGinnis says so. But I definitely feel like the more opportunities that we have as people to take a walk or to play outside with either our kids, our nieces, our nephews, our neighborhood kids, more opportunities to do that, we'll be in much better shape because exercise improves so many different things about your life, and not just the shape, if you will, of your body, but your strength and your mental strength as well. Can help you have a really good memory for a long time. You know what I mean? So, or you could dance. If you don't want to do yoga, you could dance
Yeah, the other thing
for
I've
health.
been wondering is we haven't even seen more of people getting back in tune with themselves because of all that we're going through, because of both the things that happened with George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement, as well as what's gone on with COVID, as well as the economic crisis that many of us are facing because many of us have lost jobs or are trying to find new ways of doing the old job that they might have had. So
Mhm.
I'm just wondering, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that we're seeing more people actually coming in tune with themselves or trying to come in tune with themselves?
I definitely do see that. And I think that that's a wonderful thing, right? So that the Black Lives Matter movement, in addition to making necessary changes for everybody, right? Because if Black people aren't free, ain't nobody free, right? Um, I think that in addition to the changes that they're going to bring in policy, we've decided as a people, like, it is time to take better care of our mental health and our physical well-being. And one of the ways you do that is by with mindfulness activities, with exercise, with eating healthier foods. Like, eating healthy food it can be a form of protest if you live in a food desert. You know what I mean? Like, deciding that instead of junk food, you are going to honor yourself by eating more vegetables or moving towards a more plant-based diet. That's a form of protest. You know what I mean? Especially if you're just like, and I'm gonna get my food sources. I'm gonna grow my own food, because we're seeing a return to that, to people build, doing their own farming and that kind of thing. That's protest, and protest doesn't not always have to be like destruction of buildings and marching. It can sometimes be like, no, I'm going to start with my own home and how I take care of myself in spite of what someone else thinks I need to be doing for myself. So I'm super excited to see people going, I'm going to go to therapy. You know what I'm saying? To take care of my mental health. I'm going to try this yoga class. I'm going to try meditation. I'm going to try affirmations. Drinking all the time has not been working for me. I'm going to try a smoothie or whatever. Like, I'm excited to see those things and see people taking care of themselves in those ways. Absolutely. Because if we're not healthy, we can't do the protests. We can't be in the streets. We have to take care of our bodies, and it starts from the inside.
Yeah, that's very true. It's got to start from the inside. You got to do better. Like I said, I've got to get out and do more exercise, and I've got to do a better job of getting some better food in my system because I know that I am guilty of, like many folks, if you're ripping and running, even if you're ripping and running during this time, I'm not that far from some fancy restaurants, Firehouse, and others that are nearby. So I'm probably rushing off to get the bad food when I should be sitting there preparing stuff like what Chef Hadassah just gave us and everything, some more healthy foods, and not rushing off to the convenience stores and some of the other bad places.
Well, Mark, I'm gonna say something. And I bet Chef Hadasai will agree with me. Give yourself some grace, right? Don't feel like you have to do a total overhaul today and go empty out your refrigerator. Give yourself some grace, and don't focus so much on trying to change everything at one time. You don't have to start a brand new exercise regimen today and make it perfect. Go for your walk, like you said you're going to.
Yeah,
Go for
important.
your walk, right? Replace one meal, replace one firehouse sub with the salad that Chef Hadasai made, and then try to do the same thing tomorrow and replace something else. Make time. We don't have to like change everything right at this moment, right? We can make baby steps, take baby steps, and before you know it, you're on a brand new track.
Yep. And I actually did take one baby step. I went and got a blender. It's actually sitting in the sink. It needs to be washed and everything because I have been making some smoothies. So I've actually learned the wonders of smoothies. I didn't even know how easy they are, but whether it's with milk or whether it's with water and then the fruit and the vegetables. But those smoothies have actually been, for the most part, I've enjoyed the smoothies that I've made. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm new to the smoothie game, so there were one or two smoothies that I put the samples in, got the dishes, and then I took
Oh,
the drink, and I was like, that was not the answer. I did not like that particular smoothie because of maybe I put in a little something too bitter or a little something too sweet. But for the most part, the smoothies I've made, I have enjoyed. So That's one of those small steps that you were talking about that folks can make. So I've definitely made those steps, and I'm glad that you're suggesting that for others as well. Now I do have to teach you. I have to
Yeah.
ask. Now, when you're doing the exercise, does the dog get involved too? Because you pointed out you got a little dog in the background, so I want to know if the dog is an exercise-related dog.
She'll run around the mat sometimes, but she's 15 years old, so she looks like a puppy, but she's a grown a grown woman dog. So she'll walk around the mat, make sure I'm okay, and then she'll find somewhere to take a nap. So she's not super helpful. She's just more like quiet company.
Well, that quiet company can be good company to have as well. We need that quiet company
Mhm.
in our lives. I'm a big fan of reading books. That's my quiet time sometimes. I was actually just reading one on Malcolm X that I'm in the process of finishing. So I've been reading up on that and reading up on some others. And then, of course, checking out things on the internet and things around the community. So definitely you have to have your quiet time. But that's another thing that I've been saying I was going to get. You notice I keep saying there are things that I think I'm going to get that I haven't got yet. So I had a cat a long time ago. Sounds like you're a dog lover, but that's okay. With cats and dogs, I like both of them. And I had a cat a long time ago, and I've been saying I was going to get another cat and or a plant. Now, friends of mine, they say, Mark, you can barely keep care of yourself. Well, what makes you think you're going to be able to take care of a dog or a cat, or for that matter, a plant?
I'm just gonna say, if you're gonna get a plant and a cat, just make sure it's not a plant that's poisonous to cats, because cats love to mess with plants. But any cat that you get would be a very lucky cat, I'm sure.
Well, thank you. I hope so. I definitely hope that they enjoy the company if I ever get around to getting that cat. I've had a couple of other bizarre pets. I remember many years ago having a group of geckos because a friend of mine gave me those. So I had three geckos in the house, and that was my unusual pet that I had at one point. So definitely enjoyed that. If, Melinda, if you would tell folks how they can reach you if they're interested in learning more about your yoga practice. Like I said, we are hoping that at some point there in Greensboro, you'll have your studio that you can go back to work at that you've mentioned, but just they're interested in reaching you right now. And yeah, I think you said something about a Zoom class. Does that go on every Wednesday? What day is that class that you're teaching?
Wow. It's Wednesday, and I'm trying to figure out. It was at 3 o'clock, and that this was a really good time. So I'm going to put it in the evening. But I'm teaching a jazz class, so I'm manipulating my days. But you can find me on soulflowerwellnessnc.com, and it'll keep you up to date on my classes. Or if you want to do a private with you and 5 friends, or 6 friends, or just you, you can link up with me in that way too. And I also teach meditation on Instagram Tuesday mornings at 10, and on Zoom Tuesday evenings at 6. So there are opportunities just for meditation if you're not quite ready to try yoga, or there's opportunities for yoga as well.
Okay. And how important would you just tell people once again, like we touched on it briefly, but just in your own mind again, if you would tell people how important you think meditation is, because that sounds like that's a very important practice in my mind. That in this day and time, with all that's going on in the world, we need to find ways to meditate and maybe meditate certain people out of their job. But that's just my own personal thoughts.
You know what? I don't know if you can meditate certain people out of their jobs, but you can meditate so that you can deal with what's going on, just by like giving yourself an opportunity to pause the noise. Like, this really what meditation is like a chance to just have some peace, some quiet, and to do some inquiry and some introspection about yourself, right? It can help you bring in joy. It can help you release anger. It can help you get to the root of anger. So I think that meditation is a incredibly important practice to have, especially right now when so many things are uncertain for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. What words would you give as we're getting to wrap this particular show up? But if you were to give words of encouragement for folks, what would your words of encouragement be?
My words of encouragement would be to speak what you want over your life. Like, if you want the opportunity to try yoga, speak that into your life. Let space open up so you can try it. If you want an opportunity to do meditation, speak that over your life. And then stay away from people who who don't want you to be healthy, who are always trying to take up your time. And then just make time, right? You are worth and worthy of good things. And sometimes you have to give those good things to yourself.
Yeah,
So
'cause I
speak
think a
that
lot
over
of times
yourself.
folks don't do enough of that. They don't do enough of that self-reflection. So I think self-reflection is very important, and I wonder if we do enough of that in general. So that would be my thoughts on that, because I think sometimes we are too busy not paying attention to the world and not paying attention to our inner self. So I think that we have to do both. We have to pay attention to what's going on, but we definitely have to pay attention to our inner self, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that have to do the best for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. You got to be your own advocate for sure.
Have you been
Thank you
involved in
so much
all
for
any of
having
these
me.
stuff that's been going on
Hmm?
in terms of the stuff going on in Greensboro? Have you had a chance to get out to any of the rallies and things of that nature in your own area there of Greensboro?
I did the morning drive because I'm still socially distancing. So I did the one where we drove through
So,
Greensboro, ended up um,
Uh-huh.
at Marcus Smith's burial place. So I did that one, and it was incredibly moving, for sure.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Hadassah, what were you saying?
Okay. Speak up. Yeah. Speak up.
the protest according to what built up whatever stood. So taking good so I think if you ever take a look at that as a process, but that
Yeah. You make some very good points. I could not hear all of them, but could you repeat what you were saying one more time, Chef Adesanya? Because I don't know that we caught all of that. But yeah, she's doing some great work here in the community. We'll be reaching out to her, as he said, companies well, and definitely need to learn more about what she's got going on. I think of
um,
that. He a little bit, just a little.
there's a so then so, you know, I don't
Not, not here at all.
I don't connect.
Yeah, a little bit better.
I was that so I
Yeah, doing things with the last conversation. Can you make out what you were saying, Melinda?
No, I didn't get to hear most. It was very, very
Just
scrambled. Yeah. Mark, can you see my comments in that? Like, I don't know if they're live. I mean, if everybody can see the information in the
in the
comment.
chat.
Yeah.
Let me see up the YouTube chat because hold on a second. I will let you.
Oh, and this was not right. So hold on. I'm going to delete that one.
You're good.
My website's not right. Hold on. So
Yeah. Just to share what you were going to share, just give us the website verbally, in case they don't register that way. Just Melinda, give us verbally what you were typing there.
okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say that my website again is Soulflower, Soul Flower Wellness
We can,
NC.com. And we can hear you.
We can hear you now.
but so what I was saying though, okay. But so what I was saying though is I would just hope that everyone is more loving to themselves, to piggyback on what Melinda was saying. It's important for us. It's important for us to be more loving. And if we'll take good care of ourselves emotionally and mentally, physically, spiritually, take care of our whole being, then we're going to amplify that and people will notice. You'll have a multiplying effect. And I think as everyone is going through the protests and the pandemic and hopefully reframing the way the country is run and the way the systems of justice play out, there's just so much upheaval. But if we become centers of strength ourselves, then we're able to demonstrate that to other people. And as people are drawn to that, it has an encouraging effect and a supporting effect. So I would hope that everyone takes a little bit better care of themselves right now. Stay as healthy as you possibly can, but think of it as your whole being health. And then, as we're doing that, and we kind of shine as a light, I hope you a little bit more.
Definitely. Some very powerful words that you gave there, Hadassah.
Thank you.
I agree. We need to do more of that because too often we concentrate on the negative, and there's a lot of positive that is happening in what's going on as well. And we have to find a way to both be positive in our own growth, but also be positive as we're trying to change the society.
Yeah.
Society is a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear me. The other thing I was going to ask you real quick is what give your website one more time, your website.
Sure.
See if I can.
Sorry. I waited for the captions to come through. Okay. So my website, I have a couple right now. Is tryingoglutenfree.com is the original website, and you can reach the well leaf side, the savory side through there. That's the main company is Triangle Gluten Free. Well Leaf is the savory side where I'm doing the catering, well not catering, but private chef work. And so that's what I was doing before everything hit. I was working with private groups and doing demos and celebrations and things like that, cooking for private groups. So that was that side. But so right now, what I'm doing is more of what you saw today. Like I recently worked with Hormel. We've done a couple of projects together. I'm waiting for the next one to drop. Where I did sign language cooking class. And then, so I'm just kind of working with freelance. I'm doing freelance cooking right now, and also the writing. Career concierge services, where I help people with their website content, which is really a version of my consulting. I was a business consultant for 5 years. So I combine writing, my professional writing, with the business aspect. And so I've been doing that more. So that's starting to to happen. But so I've got that as well as the .com. So I've been doing a couple of different things. But yeah.
Well, you've always been involved in a lot of different things. Like I was saying at the beginning, I remember when we first met at the book event, and that book event was a wonderful event. I think that was about.
Oh no, we lost Mark. So Hadassah, I really enjoyed being on with you. It was good to see you again.
Okay. Uh-oh. Are you back? Are you
Yeah,
back?
everybody's
Okay.
back now. So you said, Valanda, I think that I got kicked off there for a second, but you were telling Hadassah how much you enjoyed being with her. Is that what I heard and everything?
Yeah, yeah. Just that
Good.
I hadn't seen her in a while, and it was good to be in the same space again. So,
Yep,
and thankful
definitely.
that she recommended
Yeah.
me or asked you to invite me on. I've really enjoyed myself today. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a great conversation, and I definitely think that it's a conversation about wellness that is much needed and everything. Hadassah, if you remember, can you talk a little bit just about that book event that we met at and everything, and your involvement with
Yeah, it was
that?
good to hopefully we can put a class together and do our mashup with the yoga and the food. And
Yep.
We need to,
So,
yeah, we have to figure out
I
how
know
to make
every
that
time I
happen.
have to do
yep, we got to figure out how to do this on a more regular basis for sure. On
Mhm.
maybe even doing a segment here because IBM TV does all kinds of interesting programs. So one of them we talked about is having some different ones with cooks and definitely exercise and things of that nature. So I might have to talk to my folks at the IBM.TV, that is the platform that this is done on, and see about getting y'all back on in the very near future and doing like some regular kind of activities.
For sure. I would love that.
Cool. Well, that's definitely a very enjoyable conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Hadassah, you got any last things that you want to let folks know before we get ready to wrap up this show? While I sit here and type that.
thanks for having us on. Okay.
So, Melinda, you got any thoughts you want to? Now, how did you first meet Hadassah? Well, I kind of get the text
I'm
that I
sorry.
get. How did you first meet Hadassah?
Um, I think I posted something on Facebook and somebody said, "Do you know
Oh,
Hadassah? I think
sorry.
that y'all are in the same vein on some thoughts." And I was just like, "No, I don't, but please connect me." And she did. And so we had lunch because we were going to talk about doing a healthy eating and yoga type of event. And then everybody would sit home. So we didn't get the opportunity to do that, but that's how we met. So somebody thought that we needed to know each other. So here we
Sure.
are.
That's
I
great
love when
that
the
y'all got a chance to
universe,
meet that way.
right? I love when the universe is like, y'all need to you need to connect and make something happen. So here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was hard. As soon as we came up with the idea, everything just kind of went sideways. So we'll have
Hmm.
a chance to do it again soon, I think, once everything calms down.
I certainly hope so. I think that um, it's strange that even though I had danced for so long, becoming a yogi has encouraged me to, like, I want to eat better.
Yeah,
So it's been, I think that hopefully people will take a yoga class and be like, yes, I
yeah.
would like to
I'll try.
try something healthy afterwards. So yeah.
I really enjoy doing collabs with people. I've been trying to do more networking collabs. I think it's really important right now. As much unity as we can display, among our network, it's so important to support one another, other minority businesses. And that's what I did with the craft market that I was doing. Was primarily to support minority and women-led businesses. Give people a chance to have a platform. But I think it's really important right now for us to all work together as much as we can and, create something um, lasting with the work that we do. And, I really didn't think that it was going to be possible. First of all, with the pandemic, everything would go sideways for a minute. Everybody's like, oh my God, we got to reconfigure, we got to pivot. But I've been really surprised at how much our community has come together. I'm going to say surprised, but I've been happily surprised
Hmm.
and invigorated by how much our community has come together. And I've still been able to reach my goal for 2020. My affirmation was to work with people who really align with my values more this year, things that are really important socially, culturally, politically, to have a chance to work with those who align with my values. And I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. As crazy as everything has been, but what has ended up happening with 2020, I've still been able to do that. Things like this, I really appreciate. But the working with the companies and what have you, being able to work with companies that have a community-centered mindset, and it's just so important right now. I'm trying to work with as many different types of people as I can. And I've always been kind of a world focused, like globally focused kind of person, honestly. I got along with all kinds of folks growing up, but I think that's really important, more so now than ever before, for us to be as supportive as we can of one another and to reach out, maybe to different cultures or different segments of society or whatever the case may be. It's just very important for us to be as supportive and unifying in the work that we do.
Definitely. And
Yes.
that's great that y'all are doing this on a regular basis. And like I said, I will definitely reach out to some of my folks and see if we can't make this a regular activity that happens on at least a weekly or maybe a monthly basis or some kind of regular way that we can have this kind of wellness communication. Because, like we said before, wellness is so vital to what's going on in society. So we definitely want more wellness happening in the world. And we know that wellness is very much needed. So I want to thank both Melanda and Chef Hadassah for being on the show and everything. So hopefully, folks will reach out
Uh,
to both of you and have more of a communication with you on a regular basis, and we will have even more business that'll come out of this effort that we've done here today. So I'm hoping that both of you will see an increase in your business flow based on this conversation. I've seen a couple of folks that have been popping in and seeing that they were watching because they saw like different eyeballs. So I know that we've had folks
yeah.
watching, and folks will be watching on the replays as well. So definitely want to thank both of you for being on the show and for being great guests.
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate both of you for being on.
Thank
So
you.
that's going to wrap it up. Like I said, Hadassah Patterson, who I've known for a number of years, and Belanda, who is a new friend. We have definitely got a chance to meet them and see what they are all about. And I think that there's been some very enlightening conversation about how health is very much a needed aspect of what is going on in the world. Yes, these are some hard times, but even in the hard times, we cannot really have much success in terms of making change if we are unhealthy ourselves. So whether it's our
That's
mental
right.
health, our physical health, or our well-being in general, including having a good diet, these are things that we need to be concerned about on a regular basis. But like Melanda said, if you're in the bad habits and everything, you can work your way slowly into doing a better kind of habit. So you don't have to like rush into going from a fast food junkie into being somebody that's doing things on a more healthy lifestyle. You can work your way slowly into the process and don't feel that you have to make a mad rush to it, but do work on being healthier. We do know that health concerns are very much a concern in our community, but in the global community in general, because it's not just the African American community and the Native American community. There are a lot of communities around the world that are suffering and are having some bad health kind of habits and are having to work on changing those habits. So hopefully on this particular show, you got some ideas about things to do with yoga as well as a healthy dish, that salad. I'm already hungry and going to try to figure out something healthy that I can eat right now since I didn't have lunch earlier. So I'm going to see if I can't get out there and find me some healthy food. So that being said, this wraps up this edition of the radio show with Mark Lee
Mhm.
right here on IBM TV, which of course also aired on Facebook Live and on some of the other platforms as well. So definitely we'll see you next week when we'll have another interesting discussion. I believe that one is going to center around inclusion and around things of that nature. So the inclusion conversation ought to be a fascinating one as well. So hopefully my two guests will be into that, and I'll definitely be reaching out to them to be back on other shows as well.
Thank you, Mark.
No problem.
Thank
Thank
you.